Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Craic in Time. Craic in Time. Yes, we are here to have a bit of a laugh, maybe. But firstly, I do want to start with because I just seen on Twitter there about an hour ago. So Mr. Hyde's podcast, people will know him for being in the chat and on Twitter. Sadly, his mother has passed away. Due to COVID 19 complications. So I just want to wish him and his family all the best and send all their love and prayers. Um, this bloody thing is a bloody nightmare. It's like when is it ever gonna end? Um, and tell you, 2021 hasn't started off. No, personally, it's been okay. But if you look overall, hasn't started off great. Yeah, just want to send all our love and prayers to Mr. Hyde's podcast, Neil, and his family at this time. And we hope to see you around soon, pal, and we're all thinking of you. Right, so I have sent Ninja Knight his email, so I better make sure. I did say 6:30, but we'll just see, just in case he's setting up. So I'll send him a message. Hold on, just give us a second, Fuchs. Right, let him know I've sent the email. Right, I'll tell you what, while we're waiting, we'll do a few shout outs there. See who's in the chat. So we've got Tim, we've got Leland, we've got Disaster Area, we got Problem Being, Haley, we've got Retro Dicky, Nicholas Horton. Garbage is here as well. Welcome, Dr. Dave. Welcome. There's 27 people watching at the moment. If you could do us a favor, like, share, subscribe, and all of that. Well, while we're waiting on Ninja Knight, I don't know if what the story is with Ninja Knight there, but we'll give him a few minutes anyway and see what's going on. Hold on, I think I'm following him on Messenger as well. I'll just send a double message. Right, just to let him know. James Dawson is here as well. Scott McKenzie is also here. So I do have a little bit, while we're waiting on Ninja Knight, I do have a little bit of Doctor Who news, but it's not from me regular sources. So I would say take this highly with a pinch of salt, of course. Yeah, we might as well just get into it, I suppose. Hold on, we got a couple of more people in chat. Clobber and Times, Lindsay is here. Rob Fellows is here as well. Do you remember I told you about the secret Doctor storyline? Now, this doesn't come from my original sources. This is someone else, as I've told you, that's approached me a few months back. They've come back now with something else again. Won't know how reliable these people are until everything comes out when Series 13 airs, basically. And that's how I'll know if this source that I'm getting this information off is reliable. And if they're not, then obviously we won't be using them again. But this is how we find out. So what they're saying is that the secret doctor that me original sources were talking about, that storyline may have been dropped because of Jodie Whittaker's departure. And according to them, the main series 13, might be down to 6 episodes, and there might be actually 2 specials instead. That would bring the count up to 8. And apparently, according to this source, Manip will leave before the end of series 13. So she's not going to be there for the finale, apparently. So she'll leave before series 13. Now, this is not from, as I said, this is not from the regular sources that I get information of. I got information off this person before, as I told you, and I put it out there. I'm now putting this out there. Of course, as I said, it's all rumor and speculation till either verified or denied. So it'll be the same with this news source. Won't be able to verify it until it's either verified by the BBC. So that's what I've been told. As I said, though, you take all of this with a pinch of salt. And what's the name? Perminder. Yeah, it was your woman. Yeah. I still reckon she could be in for a shout for the 14th Doctor, to be quite honest with you. Remember, as I said, sources get information. Sometimes the information can, and everybody knows this, can get mixed up with other information and stuff like that. That can happen, or it can get twisted a little bit. So she either is the secret doctor, or maybe she could be Doctor 14. And all the people and the newspapers that are speculating who they think is going to take over from Whittaker actually won't, and it could be this person. We don't know. We have to wait and see. I don't know what the story is with hold on. In other news, apparently the Jodie Whittaker fans and the J-bots have all gotten together to sign this petition, to do these polls, to convince whoever has made the decision to change their mind. I'm not going to sit here and rant and rave about it, but what I will say to the Whittaker fans and the J-bots, listen, it doesn't matter what you do. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we've tried for 3 years and we got nowhere with the BBC. And if you think that you're going to get somewhere with the BBC because they've pandered to you for the last 3 years, well, you've got another thing coming. They don't listen to anybody. The thing about it is, if Jodie Whittaker made that decision, no amount of polls, no amount of sending messages to her agent, no amount of petitions is going to stop her from changing her mind. If BBC has made a decision, or Chris Chibnall has made a decision, they're not going to change their mind either. So again, it's a waste of time. Waste of time. If the decision has been made, like the Mirror has reported, like we've reported here on this channel, then it's not going to be reversed. That's the reality of the situation. I'm sorry, but that is the reality of the situation. It will not be reversed. So what I would say to those fans, Jodie Whittaker fans, not the J-bots, but the Jodie Whittaker fans, what I'd say to you is enjoy Series 13. Embrace it as much as you have loved this era. Because, as someone said, all eras come to an end, and it is sad. It is sad when an era comes to an end, especially for those fans who particularly love that era. They're going to be devastated. They're going to be sad about it. And they have every right to be. So embrace it, enjoy it. Because, she's been harmed. Look, Whitaker has her own faults. We've spoke about it on this channel. But the biggest problem of this whole era is Chris Chibnall and the BBC's inability to realise that he's over his head. And he has let her down badly, Chris Chibnall and the BBC, with their lack of promotion as well. So they haven't helped. We even have, because they're not happy, the J-bots now we're talking about here now. The Whittaker fans are mostly okay. So obviously they're upset and they have every right to be. But then we go on to the J-bot side of the issue. Now we get to see, as I showed you in the video last night, and I only scraped the surface last night. Now, since then, we now find out that these people have targeted a priest. So Father Miller, who's been on this channel, who's in the chat right now, has been targeted by these people now. So they attack a rabbi, by the way, and now they're attacking a priest. Oh, by the way, even mocking his religion. See, the veil has fallen, the mask has slipped. They're not even using their troll accounts anymore, or their sock accounts. They're actually using their own accounts now. They're openly bullying the fandom now. They're openly throwing their toys out of the pram. You can actually see now, and for once the fandom can actually see the true identity of all of these so-called fans, J-bots, right? They've actually behaved despicably ever since the announcement was made by the Mirror. Now, for anybody that's been following this channel, when I broke the news, you know how they've treated me over these last few months, especially these last 3 years. Okay, and then I've had other people then come at me from different angles as well, all because of the news that I put out, which has been verified by the Daily Mirror now and has been picked up by all the other media outlets. It just baffles me that, you know, that people can go on and behave like that, and then when the story is backed up, those people that attacked me are acting as if nothing happened whatsoever. It just baffles me, the behavior. But, you know, if and as I said, like my source information, the Daily Mirror as well, but Nicola, the journalist, does have a high hit rate when it comes to breaking Doctor Who news. There's people out there still on the J-bot side trying to convince people that the Daily Mirror is not reliable. It is. I'm sorry, this journalist, Nicola, is. They could say whatever they want. It's like everything. They're in denial. They're in denial about the ratings. They're in denial about the problems with the show. And now they're in denial about Whittaker leaving. But again, this again, though, it's all rumour and speculation until BBC confirm or deny. Now, they've done neither. And I'd just like to remind the fans, the last time that it was rumoured that Jodie Whittaker was actually leaving the show, BBC actually came out and made a statement to actually say that she wasn't going anywhere. This time, Digital Spy rings up BBC and they're told that they're not going to comment on the future of Jodie Whittaker. Now, they could have nipped all of this in the bud, right? The Mirror would have looked the fool. We all would have looked the fool that said she was leaving, but they didn't. They didn't deny it. They've said nothing. And when they say nothing, it usually means that there's something going on. So we'll wait and see what happens with the Mirror, and we'll see if all of this turns out to be true. And if it does, I'm going to say this and this only: it's not good enough. Chris Chibnall also needs to go for this to work. It's not all Jodie Whittaker's fault. Never was. She didn't help herself. She didn't help the situation. But at the end of the day, she doesn't write the scripts. You know, she's directed by the directors that he chooses. He's the one that gave her the advice on how to play the role. Yes, she should have took it up upon herself, in my opinion, to do the research and ignored her boss. She didn't do that, and then she's done some things that she shouldn't have done. Like a few of those mock videos where she was mocking fans that didn't like her casting. That was wrong. She got off on the wrong foot with fans there. You know, there was a lot of things she could have done. But at the end of the day, most of the blame, most of the responsibility of the failure of this era is down to the BBC and Chris Chibnall. Right, I don't know what's happened to my old Irish pal Ninja Knight. He was due on. We'd arranged it and stuff. So I don't know what's happened. We were only going to be on for an hour because we've got the Manchester City derby tonight in the Carabao Cup semi-final. So we were starting early. He's either, well, I don't think he's forgotten. He's probably not home yet because I think he does be busy as well. So we'll give him a few more minutes. If not, I'll just bring someone else on for a while. Yeah, it's funny how I'm just looking at some of these comments. It's actually funny how they're reacting. Their bigotry is there for everybody to see now. And I said this in my video yesterday. Have you noticed all of a sudden that all of the accounts that support Jodie Whittaker, all of a sudden Twitter seems to be getting around to them? They're either getting limited or they're getting suspended or they violated Twitter rules, but yet we're the bullies. We're all still here. It's funny that, isn't it? Anyway, that's all I want to say on Doctor Who now and what's going on because the next couple of weeks and months in this fandom is not going to be great. I'm just telling you. See, force comes to denial, and then they'll lash out then, you see. Then eventually they will come to terms with it. But some of them just won't help themselves and won't be able to restrain themselves. There's going to be a few more banned accounts out there. It's going to be a disaster. So my advice is do what I've been doing lately. Actually, I've been doing it for a few weeks now and I feel great. I've been blocking even people, even over the Christmas I was getting abuse. I just blocked them. Even today, I blocked a few accounts because they come in the usual crap, sending me private messages and stuff. But I just blocked them now. I don't bother with them. And anyway, I've already seen, because people were sending me posts, that actually when the Mirror article broke, there was a lot of backlash towards my channel. The only reason why I didn't see it this time is because, as Disaster Area says, block and ignore, because that's what I've been doing. I've been blocking and ignoring. So God knows what else they've been saying about me out there, but I don't really give a crap anymore. And you can tell by my voice, I really don't give a crap anymore. I'm gone past the stage of giving a crap with these people. These people, there's no talking common sense to them. There never was. And we were foolish to think that we could actually get through to them. We were never going to get through to these kids, and we never will get through to these kids. So leave them. Let them rot in their bigotry and their vile nastiness. Yeah. But the one thing we will do, and we'll still do, is that when they go after people like Father Miller and stuff like that, because of their opinions, we will highlight it, because they're not getting away with that. You know, we've even had to, I've seen Lee put up a post today, and I read it's from Dominic G. Martin is the guy, and he's a popular YouTuber. I've actually I had interactions with him on Twitter. We don't agree, obviously. He's you know, I think he's a fan of this era. And he plays a version of the Doctor, his own version of the Doctor, and he's very good. And someone used the N-word towards him. Now that account is being taken out, but this is what you're going to get now. This is what they're doing. They're openly now attacking people. So they're going to end up destroying themselves. So just all we have to do is just block and ignore and sit back and let them destroy each other. Because we just, anytime they cross the line, just highlight it, get people to report it, and they'll be gone. It's as simple as that. You break Twitter rules, of course. We're not telling you to go out and, you know, report anybody that isn't breaking Twitter rules. If you're breaking Twitter rules in violation of the rules, or you're suspended and you're still running accounts, you report them. It's as simple as that. And people might say that there's people going after a certain Twitter account out there because this person has multiple accounts and has been bullying Rabbi and God knows you know who else, right? And this fella has been banned off Twitter 4 times, but yet continues to pop up on Twitter, set up new accounts and continue to harass people, and then tries to play the victim, starts crying in videos, not literally crying, but starts crying to his supporters that he's the one being harassed, but yet we're highlighting the fact that, and we show it, he was kicked off. Twitter even say it. The account was set up for purposes of bullying harassment. That's why he was taken down. And still, yeah, he's supported by people that work for Big Finish and Doctor Who magazine, and they openly supported him when he came back on Twitter the first time he was suspended. It's actually sick. But these people now will lose their power. As soon as Jodie Whittaker is gone, though, you see, you know, because without her, they're nothing. They need her to have something to moan about. Now, we won't know until the new Doctor is cast, obviously, if BBC will reinforce what they've been doing. Now, I know there's a lot of talk out there. People are saying, well, they won't cast a man because if they do, they'll admit that they got it wrong. Nah, BBC, listen, I don't buy that for 1 second. I don't think BBC will give a shit, to be honest. They will cast who they want to cast, and that's the end of it. If it happens to be a man, there'll be a man. If it happens to be a woman, there'll be a woman. That's the way they'll do it. Father Miller has to run, so I'll say good night to you, Father. Look after yourself, and I'm sorry this is happening to you in the fandom. It's absolutely shameful that woman did what she did, retweeted your tweet. But she does that to everybody. But see, what she doesn't understand is when she retweets a tweet like that, her fans and their mob mentality then come and attack you because of that. But like, we highlight that to these people. We say, if you do that, if you retweet, screenshot someone's tweet or retweet their tweet, this is what happens. But they don't listen, and then they try to play the victim then when they're called out about it. So, Father, you look after yourself, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. So we'll see what happens. But as I said, the veil is finally slipping. These people are finally being exposed for what they are. And for all those people out there that were calling me a liar about the abuse that I was getting and about how these people act, well, if you go onto social media, you'll see exactly how they act. Because they're not hiding it anymore. They're not hiding it anymore. Some of them are just can't, because they don't have see, they could hide behind Whittaker. They could hide behind, say, you're only picking her because she's a woman and all of this. Now that if she is being replaced now, they don't have that anymore. So what will be their new argument? And of course, don't be surprised if they do cast a man, that they all start reacting and start coming out and calling the BBC sexist and stuff like this. They're going to make a fuss. They're not going to go down quietly. That's one thing. That's one thing that's guaranteed, is they won't go down quietly. Right, I haven't a clue what's happened Ninja night. So I'll tell you what I'll do, because it is What's the Crack, and because he is the guy that created the trailer. Lee, just let me know first, because I don't know if you want to come on, but if you want to come on, Lee, let me know, and I'll bring you on. Give it another 3 minutes, actually. I'll tell you why, just in case he thinks it's 7 o'clock, even though I said 6:30, and we'll give him till 7 o'clock. I think that's fair. And if he doesn't turn up at 7, then obviously something's after coming up. And I'll be on his channel then, I think, next week, if he doesn't appear this week. So it's no big deal. He's probably okay. It's Ireland, we're in lockdown and stuff. He's probably sorting out stuff, But trust me, these people are not going to leave quietly. So our best thing to do is just to ignore them all. And bar the people you want to highlight, that's fine, fair enough. But just ignore the trolls now. Just ignore them. It's even getting to the point where I'm being told stuff by fans of Jodie Whittaker about death threats and stuff. And I don't know whether to believe it or not, because I can't find out about it. If that's a sick lie, then this is how far some people will go. Like, I'm literally told yesterday that Jodie Whittaker received death threats because she's leaving, right? Then I asked for proof, and I said, then I was told it was a radio report in West Yorkshire local news. So I checked, Googled, checked the station, nothing. So again, I have to be careful the way I put this, because the person that actually said it to me, someone that we all know, but at the end of the day, you can't be saying things like that if it's not true. And I haven't been able to find any evidence to suggest that she's received, her or family or her husband have received death threats, and her mother and father did an interview to tell people to leave her alone. I haven't seen that. Haven't seen any evidence to suggest that. I've checked the places that I was told to check, and I haven't been able to find that. Now, again, this has to stop as well, this kind of behavior. It all needs to stop now. It's done, and at the end of the day, as I said, if the decision has been made, the other fans need to realize is that if the decision has been made, it's not going to be reversed. They haven't listened to us for 3 years, so I don't know why you think they're going to listen to you guys. Yes, they pandered to you for 3 years, but if they've made a decision, they're certainly not going to listen to you. And if Jodie Whittaker has made the decision to walk away, it's because, she thinks it's right. By the way, there is this thing floating about that it was Jodie Whittaker's agent, right? Now, I know Rabbi reported on it, right? But I can tell you now that was a rumor made up. That was not actual news. Rabbi didn't know that, by the way. That's why I never reported on it. Jodie Whittaker's agent has not convinced her to leave or quit. Jodie Whittaker was always going to leave after she had a discussion with David Tennant during the podcast that they did, because they're friends, and he said 3 years and out. Right? So she always intended to follow the 3-year contract and leave. So, the next doctor will probably come in for 3 years as well. Or they might do what we were told a few months back as well. They might bring in an older doctor for now, give him a season or two, and then try bring in a younger doctor then. But yeah, I mean, it's getting ridiculous, some of the stuff I'm saying. So I'm just highlighting it and calling it out as I say, because it's absolutely ridiculous. Um, so yeah, so apparently that's what it is. She was never going to be doing more than 3 years. But I mean, if you look at how long she's actually stayed in the role, or since she's been cast, um, she's 4 years. This will be what, going into her fifth year. That's a long time to be in one role. Without really doing much. You've only done two series and two specials. You know. And then she does series 13. There was no way, I'm telling you now, even without source information, there was no way, logically speaking, that she was going to stay past our third series. No way. No way. She wouldn't stay that long. She wants to do something else. She probably want to have kids as well. You know? Still a young woman. She can still have kids. She wants to have a family. You know? So I don't think the J bots and the Whittaker fans actually understand that she is a woman after all, and she does have a young kid, as far as I know, two young kids. I think it's one, isn't it? One young kid, and she wants to have more kids, and there's nothing wrong with that, But if she's in a show like Doctor Who, with this filming schedule that she would have, and then if she wants to squeeze other stuff in there as well, because she doesn't want to be typecast as the Doctor, then she'd do other projects as well. She's not going to have time for her family. So something has to give. So I don't believe, personally speaking, that she was going to stay past the 3 years. The 3 series, I should say, because not 3 years, because obviously, the others could give us a series a year. Chris Chibnall has dragged this out. That's why our era also feels a little bit disjointed, and it feels like we haven't gotten much, because less episodes as well. Remember that, So it's ridiculous. How did anybody expect her to stay? I mean, you just have to use your head logically. You don't even have to wait for source information. I mean, there's no way she would have stayed past 3 series. No way. Unless her doctor was hugely successful. That's the only way I could have seen her stay. Because it's successful, why would you leave a successful role? You'd be stupid to leave it. But unfortunately for her, because of the writing and because of the direction she was given, it hasn't been that role for her. So it's just as well that she's bound out if she is. But of course, none of this makes any difference, because the man that I believe is responsible for the downfall of this show could be still here. Now, I will add this. I was listening to Az and Gary, and I think it was Az that made the point, and he goes, do you remember when Jodie Whittaker actually said that she wouldn't leave unless Chris Chibnall was leaving? So I'll put this question to you all now in the chat. I did put this question to you at the end of last night's video, but I'll put this question to you because nobody answered in the comment section. So I'll ask you here, and then you can answer now. All right, so I'll put this question to you. All right, so if Jodie Whittaker said that, what's changed, or is Chris Chibnall really gone, and BBC somehow have managed to keep that away from sources and leaks? Remember, right, now people will find that hard to believe, but remember, Jodie Whittaker's casting, except for one person that had taken a photograph up, they made up some excuse, and it was never leaked. Jodie Whittaker, they were able to keep that secret until the very last minute. I think it was the night before. It was when actually people start getting a rumbling it might be Jodie Whittaker, and then it was confirmed. But everybody was kind of in the dark, right? So they're able to keep that secret. So what if Chris Chibnall really is actually gone, but they leaked the Whittaker news because that'll distract everybody, right? And then Chris can actually work on Series 13 without being hindered because all the questions will be about Whittaker. Now, again, I want to make this clear for anybody that's watching because there's 52 years watching, so I know a few of you Jodie Whittaker supporters are watching and a few of the J-bots. I want to make this clear. This part that I'm talking about here, I'm only speculating here, right? Not spreading rumors or lies or saying that this is true. I'm just speculating. What if Chris Chibnall is also leaving? And they've managed to keep that a secret. Because I was kind of thinking something. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I was kind of thinking it is a bit stupid to kind of get rid of Jodie Whittaker. Say if Chris Chibnall was going to leave next year, say he was going to leave after Series 14. Right? It wouldn't make sense with him staying on. Unless this is them telling us that he's here for the long haul and he's here for the 60th. And if he's right in the 60th, see, this is why I do believe there might be a chance of him going, because do BBC really want him to be right in the 60th? Do you guys want him to be right in the 60th? You know? That's a horrible feeling. That's a horrible thought, by the way, to have him right the 60th. You know, I might have me problems with the 50th, right? But Moffat, I think, pulled it off in the end. I still came out with a smile on my face. There might have been things I was disappointed about, but I came out of that with a big smile on my face. So, you never know. As I said, I'm only speculating there. But remember, Jodie Whittaker did say she wouldn't leave unless Chris Chibnall was leaving. So if she stands by that, well then does that mean Chris Chibnall's leaving? Or I'll put to you this: what has changed? Has their relationship broke down because she feels now that he's let her down, that he feels that she feels that he hasn't done enough for her, and maybe that's why she's gone. You know, there's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of theories, I suppose, you could come up with about that there, but I do think it's very fascinating. Right, let me see. We've only got 45 minutes to go. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I don't seem to have gotten any word from Al Ninja, so something must have come up. So what I'll do is I'll bring on Lee. He hasn't been on in a while anyway, so because Christmas period, we've only settled back down again. Don't forget, tomorrow we have Ghostbusters. Who are you gonna call? I'm afraid of no ghosts. So come and join me for that. Then Friday we've got the TARDIS on Talks. And then on Saturday we have New Who and the classic Who. And I'll be announcing the old on Friday. I'll be announcing the panels. So if you still want to be part of the panels and you have been a panelist in the past, you have to let me know tonight. Send me a message to let me know to put you down, and pick two panels, right? Obviously you'd be on one, but I want you to pick a backup panel as well. So the panels, we've got a movie panel, we've got the New Who and the Classic Who panel. So pick from one of those three panels and get back to me. And we'll put the panels together then. I'll let everybody know then on Friday who the panelists are. And then we'll get cracking on the watch-alongs. Right, let's bring them on. It's the one and only Problem B.
Greetings. What's the crack?
What's the crack?
How's
How
it
are you?
going? Yeah, Happy New Year. I haven't spoken to you properly for a wee while.
Yeah, I think we've all just, I
It's
think
still hungover.
I think lockdowns just fucked us all up again because we were doing grand up until then, and then when we all found out we were back in lockdown again, I think we all just needed a bit of me time just to.
2021, starting with an eye roll.
Yeah, first we find out Tanya Robbins passed away, and then it turned out she didn't, and now she is dead. What the fuck, man? Oh man, that shit was weird.
There's some weird shit going on. It's like
Yeah.
2021. Might as well
Yeah,
continue.
well, I did tell you,
Stuff.
didn't I? I don't want to be the party pooper, but I did say if everybody thinks 2021 is going to be
Well, I said,
sunshine,
didn't I? Dress
it,
rehearsal.
yeah, and it hasn't started off well. Personally, now it's been fine, but looking at everything, yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all.
Quite.
So yeah. So a lot of things have happened. Obviously, it's been an interesting time in the fandom now. Obviously, because I haven't had you on since the announcement.
No.
Obviously, was made by the Mirror. Firstly, I want to ask you: are you surprised
By her leaving?
Yeah.
No. I always thought she was going to leave after series 3. I just couldn't get on board with it. I mean, I thought, well, I guess I had a sort of moment of doubt where I thought, well, maybe they will because of the dint of her genitalia that she's going to stick around longer to show off, how the glass ceiling must be broken in every single way possible.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't see her going on being the new Tom Baker. No. I mean, it would be suicidal for the BBC to do that anyway. And I think the ratings for this special really did sort of prove that big spike that they were hoping for just wasn't going to materialize. And it was, the worst rated New Year, Christmas, whatever special. So, I mean, I know many people who didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I know Dan from the Spacebook didn't watch it. Starry didn't watch it. There's a lot of fandom have made stuck by their guns, said that they weren't going to watch it, and they didn't. So I'm proud of them. I know some people had to, obviously, for their channels and all the rest of it. But no, I'm not surprised. I'm glad it's announced now. Well, I mean, it's not announced, but I'm glad it's out there now. Listen, Peter Capaldi was ousted for less. So yeah. I think it was the responsible thing to do. I think she's been pushed. I think she's been pushed pretty much the way that Capaldi was pushed. I think that's karma right there. I'm going by my own gut feeling, so I don't know, but that's my feeling. Numbers, can't be ignored, really. You just can't ignore that. As for her agent advising her, I think any decent agent would actually give advice like that you need to get out. So I wouldn't discount that entirely either. Whether or not the reporting of that was real or not, I don't think it's material. I can still imagine that a responsible agent would see that, this is possibly having a negative effect on her career. And I think that anyone with an ounce of intelligence will see that if you've managed to lose over half your audience in a TV show because of not only just the writing, but because you're the lead, which seems to be the two main things that have been flagged for attention, I think you can't ignore that. I think any agent worth their salt will advise their client, you've got to get out of this. And she's been contracted there for 4
years. Now, from my sources, it didn't happen, and I'm just reporting it. It didn't happen.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying.
She was always planning on leaving. That's the thing. She was always planning on leaving. She was never going to be the longest serving doctor. It was never a plan. She had a word with David Tennant before she took the role, and then she did the podcast interview, and he told her and advised her 3 seasons and out, because he had done, remember, the 3, but he done the specials, and he thinks that his era dragged on a little bit. He wishes he had a left after series 4. So they've all advised her 3 and out. So
listen, I can well believe that. I can also, I can still imagine.
All of this
her agent saying, "Yeah, you should leave. You should leave after 3."
But
maybe.
But in fairness, all of this will come out in the end. Chaos in Cardiff, the whole shebang. It will come out one day. And to all of those people that were out there criticising us, saying that Chaos in Cardiff didn't happen, and there was others reporting on it too, it did happen. We showed actually evidence. If BBC Radio themselves, they still have that clip up. The journalist there actually says it, that there was problems during the production of Series 11. They carried on into Series 12, and Chaos in Cardiff happened in Series 12. And Chris Chibnall ran off. Jodie Whittaker was going to quit. They were going to quit twice. Right? I've explained this a few times anyway, because, you know, this is the thing now that the J-bots are using against me. Because the mirrors come out now and back me up, and they're not liking it too much. So they're coming out with this. Well, remember, Noel's been saying she's leaving since Series 11. But see, the thing about it is they don't watch my channel. And they don't watch what I said, that what happened after the fact that I reported the news. So this is what happened to all you little J-bots that are listening. He's listening to me now. I'm talking like this because you're a bit stupid. So I'm going to talk like this, right? Because you might understand it this way. So after Series 11 ratings start coming in, and they seen that the ratings were low and they were down, Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall actually were willing to resign and handed in their P45s, if that's what I want to call it. But Piers Wenger, because he's a bit of a tosser, right, decided, no, I don't want you to go. It's because it looked bad for me. So hang on for another year at least, right? Will you please? Right? So they decided to stay, but because there was problems during Series 11 because of what Chris Chibnall was doing, they're carried on into Series 12, you see, right? And then what happened then was, because Chris Chibnall wasn't going to get his way, he cried like a little baby and he ran off then. And then Jodie Whittaker didn't like the fact that he ran off like a little baby and cried, and she decided to quit as well. But what happened was someone got in contact with Chibnall and said, Chibi, please come in, we just want to talk to you. And they all sat around the office and said, Kumbaya. And they sorted out their problems, you see. And that's what happened. So just because, you know, I said they were going and then they ended up changing their minds, doesn't mean that they weren't going in the first place. They changed their minds, which they're entitled to do. Do you know what I mean? So I hope I've explained it now in a way that you all understand.
I'm going to start a petition that you
so that's how it went down. So that's how it went down. So when I did get the information that she was leaving this time, I was a bit, and I even said it the first time I got it, said it on this channel, I'm a little bit skeptical because of the last time they were managed to hold on to their jobs, or they managed to be convinced to stay. And I wasn't 100% convinced myself, but I ran with the news anyway. And of course, I did get the use it back. Well, you've already said it twice. But if you have watched me channel, I've actually explained this in follow-up videos. But you don't watch me channel, you see. You only listen to a few people out there on Twitter land and on their YouTube channel spouting nonsense about me without even checking me videos out yourselves. That's what happened. I even put clips and photographs and stuff up at the time to back up what I was saying. Tolson Cole with his video asking if Jodie Whittaker had done her lines. Also, as I said, that BBC News report on BBC Radio that actually spoke about problems during the production of Series 11 and 12. Listen, I back all this up, okay? That's the difference. Okay, so don't be coming at me like Dr. Freedom did, and I will mention your name. How dare you come onto my thread, by the way, on Twitter, right? I don't follow you and you don't follow me, right? And you can stuff your files as well, and you even attempt to do a file on me. Don't even go there with me.
A file? What?
You're just as bad as all those other idiots out there, right? I won't even go on to what you did during Series 11 to try and convince people that Jodie Whittaker was still the doctor. So don't go there with me, and don't ever come on to my my thread without all the facts and all the information. So it's being explained to you now, right? So don't ever come onto my thread again and come and start trouble with me. And the rest of you little knobheads as well, just want to say one thing. Your time is up in this fandom, right? Jodie Whittaker is gone, right? And hopefully Chris Chibnall follows her out the door. And as soon as he follows her out the door, then I'm going to just say one thing to you. Basically run. Basically run. 4.5 years, 4 years of this crap yous have been giving us. I'm telling you, wait and you see this fandom rise again. And yous will be sorry. Yous will be sorry for what yous did. Yous destroyed this show. Yous destroyed this show. Yous helped Chris Chibnall destroy this show. And we will never forget that. We'll never forget that.
So wait, Dr. Freedom has a file on you. Am I getting this right?
He does files on people apparently that he doesn't like. So I'm assuming there is one because he's had a few goes at me. I'm just sick of these people coming.
He's such a shill. Oh my god! I used to follow his channel. I used to love his channel.
I can, PD Rich. I'm absolutely can. I'm just telling these people they've been harassing this fandom for 3.5, 4 years. If they think that there's not going to be a reaction to that now, they've got to.
As I've said before,
it won't be me.
Yeah, but as I've said before, like after episode 5 of series 11, I kept my mouth shut. Went on Facebook on some Doctor Who group that I belong to now. I don't, belong to any group, and I expressed my concerns, and I was immediately set upon by a bunch of Jodie stans who wished me to die of cancer, and one of them was the mod.
And by the way, what I mean is basically, Ron, what I mean is this, right? Because I don't want you thinking it's a threat. What I mean is basically all those people that you've bullied and harassed have never said that, and some of them haven't, right? This announcement, right? And they'll wait until it's official. And when it is official, those people that you've bullied and all are going to come out and start defending themselves, and they're going to start talking again. And this is what I mean. So you won't have a leg to stand on. So best advice now is Whittaker is gone, right? If Chris Chibnall goes as well, you need to leave this fandom too. You're no longer welcome. Your toxicity is no longer welcome. Your threats to older fans are no longer welcome. Your support of the destruction of the fandom and the show is no longer welcome. So you can basically run. Get the hell out of here. Yous are done. Yous are spent force within this fandom. And you know what? If yous had to behave yourselves, enjoyed the era without attacking fans, we wouldn't be reacting like this. And some fans will react badly and will come out and get their revenge. Is it right? No. But they will feel that there's some justice in that. So if look, you can already see it happening. Some people are starting to speak up that didn't have the courage to speak up and are finally approaching their bullies. And it's good to see. And when you have a YouTuber like the Who Addict saying that they're no longer going to be reviewing episodes of Doctor Who, especially Series 13, so they've decided to stop. Now, I don't normally agree with everything the Who Addicts say. They're good at what they do.
Yeah.
And for them to be bullied offline, basically bullied because they didn't like resolution of the Daleks. Now, maybe I escaped a little bit of it because I enjoyed it a little bit, have to be honest. But could you imagine if I had really hated this and came out and said I hated it? I probably wouldn't have the peace and quiet that I have now. But I really did. I have to say there were some elements of this that were really good. Look, as I said, I get if people don't want to watch, that's the decision that you've made, and well done. But for me, I was reviewing it anyway, but for me, I'm not. I thought I was done with Doctor Who completely. I'm not.
Fair enough.
I'm not done. I can't walk away, and I'm not going to be able to walk away. So yes, if this is the last of Jodie Whittaker's era, fine. But it has to be the last of Chris.
Well, yeah, you have to bear in mind that if Chibnall's going to stick around and he's going to be casting the next Doctor, and if you think that means that these people are going to finally piss off, we could be well in for a big shock where it's going to be more of the same, but maybe even worse. If that does happen, you know, the BBC can kiss this goodbye. Maybe he'll do something even worse in order to scorch the earth so that no one else can have it after him. You know, it could be like that. So we're not out the woods yet, not by a long stretch. And I would urge caution. Yeah, you know, she's gone or is going, but what's coming down the line? That's the thing that we all need to be really careful of. And I think it might be a good idea within the same faction of this fandom to start maybe a campaign for a particular actor, show the BBC that, you know, you want change and you want something more traditional. You don't all have to agree necessarily, but, you know, if we can sort of focus on one, you know, like Michael Sheen's a great choice. My choice is Luke Treadaway, you know, but just generally just say, look, we want something that is recognizable.
You know what? I agree with you, but we have found, Lee, and let's be honest, we have found with this side of the fandom that they just don't care anymore. We've seen that some decided not to watch the special, and fair play to them. They stuck to their guns and they didn't watch, right? But a lot of fans, they don't care. They don't care enough to actually even do that. And that's what I'm finding. Even when we tried campaigns on this channel, I think we had 2 successful campaigns, but the rest were all failures because as time went on, fans just don't care anymore. And
we didn't fail, we just opted not to win.
And here's the thing. And here's the thing. Even if they do bring in Michael Sheen, but Chris Chibnall is here, they won't care.
Listen, we all know. I mean, we all completely understand that she is the least of our problems. You know, it's Chibnall, Wenger, all these people. They are the main problem. The BBC fundamentally has to change. Now they've got a new chair of the BBC, which, believe it or not, is like some real pro-Brexit Tory guy. We've got obviously Tim Davie. Now he's got backup from this guy.
But in fairness, right, I was optimistic about him, but listening to all the shit that he's been coming out with over the past few months.
He's probably common. Look, the only reason these people get in is because they toe some line, right? So, I mean, he's probably just as common purpose as the rest of them and pays lip service. Might just well be the case. But look, he has a job to make the BBC viable, right? Going along this road is ultimately, I mean, he might have to say certain things in order to keep under the radar, if you know what I mean, like not spook them out too much. But someone has to be the hatchet man. Someone has to come in. Someone has to rejig the BBC to make it viable. Otherwise, it's not going to survive. Doctor Who is a jewel in the crown for the BBC. They have allowed it to sink to such a terrible level where it's not in any way a success from just a few years ago. Now you've got a massive 60th anniversary around the corner, which can reignite interest, but they've got to address what's been done to it. And the only way they can do that is to shake it up. Now, Chibnall has to go. If Chibnall, Wenger, these people are still there for the 60th, it's over. Now, I have a feeling that Chibnall will be gone by the 60th, and that maybe they'll use the 60th as a reboot if they manage to not get the show cancelled by the end of season 13, and starting the 60th with season 14 with the 14th Doctor would be a good idea. Otherwise, it needs to go into hibernation for a few years and allow enough time to pass to let people kind of relax, chill out, forget about it for a while, forget Chibnall's. And if they come back and kind of soft reboot it to the point where it's never mentioned again, And that might be something.
Could be.
Personally, I think it needs to be addressed. I think it can be retconned out of existence with a sentence. You know.
But I said this last night. That's never going to happen. Though. They won't retcon it. They won't, because they'd.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why the BBC needs a massive shake-up. People need to be let go. You know, like that. It needs for the BBC to survive and to be viable. They need to come to their senses. They need to understand that they have to balance out certain things within the organisation so it's not so bloody militant. And that it does need a shake-up. The only way you're going to get any sort of viability and longevity for the BBC to remain as our, you know, national broadcaster, they have to appeal to the nation as a whole, not to a small subsect.
We've got 10 minutes to go. I want to ask you, right, because we could go on about this on it, but I want to ask you who you're. Right, I know Luke Treadaway is your choice, but if we're going with the people's names that have been mentioned in the newspapers and the, say, past rumoured people that were going to be cast as the Doctor, who would you pick out of those besides Luke Treadaway?
Well, before Whittaker got cast and there was talk about a female Doctor, I would have gone with someone like Michaela Cole. But after obviously witnessing how it doesn't work,
on that one, by the way, Cheryl's with you on that one, by the way, just to let
you. Because I think she's, you know, she was great in Chewing Gum. She was great in.
Not woke. Apparently, she's very good. She doesn't.
She's solid, and she's really unusual. She's got a very striking look. She's very different. She's kooky, which I like.
But you said it there. But because of this, Jodie,
all this era did was cement in my mind.
He's ruined it for another woman.
Yeah, I mean, it cemented it in my mind that the Doctor is a male role, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And for people to bandy around terms like sexism and chauvinism and misogyny, because you want one character to remain a man after 50 odd years, I don't think so. And I have absolutely no problem with
believe that, right? And I'm going to say this, right? You all know where I stand on it, right? They tried it with Jodie Whittaker, didn't work. Should they try it with another woman? In my opinion, no. It's always been a male role. And it should have stayed that way. BBC tried it. In my opinion, it didn't work.
If they were going to make the Doctor a woman, they should have made her feminine. Yes. They made her a tomboy, you know, a Karen, and it just didn't work. It just did not work. Now, Missy was feminine.
Yeah,
and it worked for me. Missy worked for me. I love Missy. I think the master of disguise.
Yeah, she played.
And I think, changing sex to act as the ultimate disguise, brilliant. But it works one time. It works one time. It doesn't work again, and it certainly doesn't work with the Doctor.
Well, I'm going to be honest, right? Years now I had problems with Missy, but I've been recently watching Missy all over again. And I used to call her a deranged Mary Poppins and not recognize her as one of the masters. But I can tell you now, after watching her again in the role, she is so much the master than the rest of her predecessors. And she deserves to have that.
I prefer her to sing.
She's part of it, whether she's a woman or not. She is absolutely... Listen, Michelle Gomez is an actress. She was in some shows years ago as well that actually are on BritBox that I've been checking out as well. This woman's range is unbelievable. Moffat, I didn't know who she was. To me, she was an unknown at the time. As I said, I've only gotten to see lately all of these other things that she was in when she was in her youth. You might as well say.
Green Wing. I first saw her in Green Wing, which is a fantastic comedy. If people haven't watched it, I highly recommend it.
And she's... Seriously, the range of this, she was absolutely spot on casting. And I have to be honest, I can finally say now, without calling her the deranged Mary Poppins anymore, she is part of that lineage. Delgado.
I think her performance in Wild Enough in Time, I think that's one of my favorite Capaldi stories. I think that, you know, she was great in that.
She did.
I think when she stepped out the TARDIS and said, "Hello, I'm Doctor Who."
Yeah.
Now, if they would have made her the Doctor, I would have been completely sold. I think that would have worked, but they didn't. They went with some nondescript.
Shouldn't they went with an actress like Michelle Gomez instead of an actress like Jodie Whittaker, though? That's the thing, because Jodie Whittaker, no matter what you think of her actress,
she's too bland. Like the Doctor has to be an eccentric figure. That has to be an imposing yet eccentric figure. She's none of those things.
Yeah, I've never seen her play a role like that before. That's the problem.
It's totally miscasting, and it proved to me that you can't take that role for granted. You can't just cast a person because of their gender to be the role because they're a woman. If you're going to go for a woman, you go with someone like Michelle Gomez. That makes complete sense to me. And if you write it better than obviously Chibnall can, or his insufferable team who would equally, if not worse, it just seems to me such a wasted opportunity to do something interesting with that. They didn't do it. They put politics over development of the character to make the character a woman and address it in a meaningful way. I think it didn't do women any service. It didn't do the Doctor any service. It didn't do anything any service other than checking tick boxes, and really just nothing came out of that other than a divided fandom, an aggressive standing for her, and the shippers started with the whole LGBT thing, which is just embarrassing for me. I find it embarrassing. Right?
Well, the one thing we can actually say now is that if they do cast a man now, all of this crap that comes out of their mouths a bit of us being sexist and bigots now, they won't be able to use that at least, but I'm sure they'll come up with something.
Well, especially if it's another white man, you can bet your ass.
I don't think it will be. I'm going to put this out there, though. It won't be a white man.
No, although you asked me who I thought out of the ones put forward as suggested. Michael Sheen is obviously the clear choice. The man was born to play the Doctor.
Look, I'm gonna do a Michael Sheen appreciation stream. You said let's start a campaign and back someone. I think everybody in my chat anyway would agree with me that Michael Sheen right now would be a safe pair of hands. But not only that, he is, to me, he is the next logical Doctor. So why not?
My choice was Luke Treadaway, because you want to go down to get your audience back. Wait, to get your audience back. Yeah, but to get your audience back and to make it bounce back, you need a young Doctor.
Right.
You need a heartthrobbing Doctor.
I think we're going past that. I think right now we need someone that can that has credibility, which is Shane has the CV behind him, which Shane.
Yeah, but Smith was an unknown, and he surprised all of us.
But Lee, we're in a dip. You have to stop thinking like that, mate. We're in a different atmosphere now. The fandom has moved on. Everything has moved on since then. This is a different situation altogether. I don't think an unknown or Luke Treadaway would actually work in this situation. Not now.
I do. No,
hear me out, and then I'll let you finish, right?
Yeah, sure.
But I think what would this is the way it should happen. You give it to Michael Sheen first, right? See how he goes. See how the ratings go. And if his 4th season does relatively well, then you give him another season. Right? Then you get rid of him after the 2nd. So you give him a 2-year contract. You say, right, we need 2 years. Are you up for it? He'll say, yeah, 2 years probably be perfect for him. Because remember, he's just had a kid as well. His wife, his missus has just had a kid. So they have a young family, right? So 2 years would be perfect. And then you bring in someone like a Luke Treadaway.
Yeah,
right?
that works. That works.
Pair of hands, firstly, to get us past past these 2 years, right? Safe in the knowledge that the show is in safe hands with a doctor that we can all trust, right? And then
I think that's a very valid argument. That's a very good argument. Also, here's a curveball for you. Well, we know that the Doctor can revisit past faces, right? We had that with the Curator.
No, you're not talking Tennant now, are you?
No, well, no, but
McGann?
That wasn't what I was thinking. You could, yeah, McGann. Get him to play the 14th Doctor. Go from the... Why not? Why not?
You could, and I think, look at, we did speak about this on this channel a few months ago. I'm glad you brought it back up again. Why not? Why not do that? I tell you, right, even that over Michael Sheen, I know for a fact, right, that you don't even have to sell me that. You don't even have to sell the classic. Look at, if you were to tell fans that you're bringing back Paul McGann, right, I don't care. Even the most skeptical fan that has walked away will sit up and take notice of this announcement, right? And I think, I'm not saying they all would, but I'd say a majority of them would come back just to check it out and see if it's good or bad. Now, if it's bad, they'll walk away for good and they'll never forgive the BBC. But if it's good, this is a way to hook us all back in and to say, okay, we're willing to make this show good, great again, as people have said.
But it will all count for nothing if the BBC... I mean, it's incumbent upon the BBC to throw out Chibnall and this era.
Yeah.
If he remains, even if you had someone like Paul McGann or Michael Sheen in the role, they cannot do much with terrible scripts.
I know.
Even the hardcore Jodie fans, right? The J-Bots and all the rest of them, even they criticize, even they are now throwing Chibnall under the bus, saying, if, she should stick around, she should have someone else writing for her to show her in a better light because he's written drivel. Even they are saying this now. The BBC has to take note of that. If they're not listening to us and they've been pandering to this lot, and this lot are now saying that Chibnall hasn't written the best episodes for her, well, like we've been saying for the last 3 years, then surely someone must at the BBC go, you know what, maybe he isn't the right choice. And that Fitzroy group, which is now the main focus, RTD, Moffat, Chibnall all belong to this group. They all used to go to the same pub together, and they all created a cabal, basically, where, they would pass the torch on to their mates. So that needs to be broken up. I think it needs a new vision. It needs new blood.
I agree.
It needs to be taken out of their hands, I mean, it's like, Big Finish, all of this, all stems from that one group of people who all go to the same pub. Now, that's cronyism, and the BBC for decades has operated in this way. This is why when people complain about it's these white middle-class, Oxbridge educated people, that's how the BBC has always operated. You want to talk about inclusivity, that ain't it, right? The Fitzroy, whatever it is, group, they are part of the thing you claim to hate, J-Bots. So you shouldn't be supporting it. You should be against that anyway. Yeah. I'm all for, maybe Noel Clarke or someone coming. I personally think Capaldi would be a great showrunner. Get him in.
Honestly, the Noel Clarke situations, I would have agreed 100%. But then he came out with all this rhetoric that he was giving out for the fact that the new show that he was on had too many white people.
I mean, look, that shit cannot fly anymore. That stuff is dated, right?
Well, listen, can I just say, because I have to finish up, but listen, this is going to be a long few months. And I don't want to mind it, and I know Lee doesn't either, because Blue Bonnet has said a few things that have kind of, made sense. I don't want to be continuing to talk about this unless we have to. So unless there's more breaking news or stuff like that, I don't really want to. And I don't want the TARDIS Zone talks this Friday to kind of talk about this either. So what I'll do is, whatever you want the TARDIS Zone talks to be this Friday, if there's any topics of conversation other than Doctor Who you would like us to highlight and bring up and you guys would want to talk about, I think we should do that for a while. Unless there's any more breaking news, if I receive any more source news, I'll let you know. But you know what? Until I know Chris Chibnall is gone, I'm not going to give his.
It's very hard to get excited, isn't it, about a new doctor when we know that he's casting his shadow.
The first thing that came into my head was when it finally came out in the mirror. I thought I was going to, because I remember last year saying, as soon as that woman's announced, I'll be jumping through hoops and I'll be celebrating. When it finally came out by the mirror, I was like, all right.
Okay. I was happy, but again, the reality sinks in.
I wasn't happy.
When it said that Chibnall's staying around, I was just like deflated again, because that's the main problem right there, is him.
I was like, well, it makes no difference, because I don't think Jodie Whittaker is the biggest problem here. So if you still have the biggest problem there, it doesn't matter. You could cast bleeding Denzel Washington or bleeding what's his name, Daniel Day-Lewis, and it's still gonna be shit. So yeah. So look, I'm gonna have to leave it at that. But Lee, listen, thanks for stepping in tonight. I really appreciate it.
No worries. I hope Ninja Night's all right.
I hope Ninja Night is all right. Yeah, because he even texted me last night to say, "Are we on for tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, 6:30." And he says, "Grand." So like, I don't know unless something popped up, but if it is, I'll be on his channel next week, because obviously we did this week on this channel. But I want to thank Lee for popping in and taking his place tonight. But I will read this super chat by Nicholas Horton before we do go. Michelle Gomez was good as Madame Satan on Netflix.
She's the only watchable thing in it. Yeah. I couldn't watch that show, even for Michelle Gomez.
I haven't seen it myself, but listen,
it is pure woke trash.
Is it usual? Yeah. All right, Roy. Well, listen, we'll be back for Ghostbusters tomorrow, so come and join me for that. And then on Friday, as I said, we have the TARDIS Zone Talks, and then on Saturday we have New Who and the Classic Who watch along, and then on Sunday, then we have the new weekly stream, because most of you have said that you want Cheryl to be doing more streams with me. So yes, our wish is granted. Cheryl will be joining me every Sunday night, and we will be doing we're calling it Gift of the Gab, because we like talking and slagging each other off and stuff, and it'll just be funny. So yeah, so we're gonna call it Gift of the Gab. So come and join us for Gift of the Gab on Sunday nights as well. So yeah,
God, that doesn't mean I have to create another bloody title sequence.
Well, you don't have to. If you'd like to.
I swear you do this just on purpose.
No. That's the last new show now. Look, we have the TARDIS Zone Talks now. We have Craic N Time, right? We got the New Who and the Classic Who watch along. And we have me movie one, which I'm not expecting the trailer for. Don't even bother with that one. The movies are good enough for people. But listen, you don't have to. Even if you could even do me a thumbnail for the stream, like that'll even be nice.
What's it called again?
Gift of the Gab. Gift of the Gab. I'm sure you'll think of something, but you don't. But listen, you don't have to. It's not priority.
Yeah, but I'm a completist, right? I have to.
I know you are. I know you are. Oh, by the way, actually, now that I have you here, now that you seem to be keen to do some work, I do have a little job for you. See the way my logo's the TARDIS Zone Talks there, the TARDIS Zone, right? So I managed to do this, right? So I'm going to show you this, right? So I managed to do this for the TARDIS Zone Talks one. So it changes to the TARDIS Zone Talks.
Yeah.
Right? But then I tried to do Craic N Time, but because it's this, it comes in all wonky.
Well, so, you can. That's easy enough to sort out. You just need to edit it. Like, okay, I'll sort it out for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But I thought that'd be a good idea as well. Just to have that there, I thought it'd be good. Yeah. So it's worked out. Right, listen, I'm gonna go. But again, Lee, thank you for joining me. Thank you, Nicholas, for that super chat, and everybody as well. Thank you for joining me tonight. And as I said, let me know what you want to talk about on Friday. There's plenty of other stuff going on out there. We're kind of getting sick and tired of talking about this era of Doctor Who now. I mean, I haven't even done my review of revolution of the Daleks. Like we did the panel and I gave a few brief points, but then I'm kind of thinking, does people really want to hear me point of view? Because I know a lot of yous were kind of surprised that I came out and said it was half decent. So I don't know if you even want me review now.
I have a question. If it took 20 years for Captain Jack to break it, to commit all these crimes which were never discussed, and we still don't know what she was arrested for and put into jail for either. And he spent 20 years in there to get closer to her. Nice. And he had this MacGuffin that could get them out within minutes. Why didn't he use that to break in?
Okay. Maybe because Chris Chibnall's bad at explaining, but
yeah, I think that
right. But if it was me, this is how I would have explained it. He only had limited power, so he could only use it.
Well, where did he get it from? Couldn't he got to?
Where he got his gun from?
No, the thing to get out of thing.
Okay, again, this is Chris Chibnall. I'm not saying it was perfect. I'm not. But I'm not going to sit here and say that it was the worst thing that he wrote. It wasn't. And I'm not going to lie. It wasn't the worst thing that he wrote. And I know a lot of people are surprised by that, but it wasn't. It really wasn't. There was some wow moments in it. And if you don't want to watch it, or if anybody out there doesn't want to watch it, that's fine.
It's not that I don't want to watch it. It's just I've no interest.
And I get it. And I really do. I get it. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not here saying, you should watch it. Don't watch it if you don't want to watch it. But I actually enjoyed it better than most of the stuff that he's written. I've even said it's the best thing that he's written for Doctor Who. And it is.
You mean he put effort into it? Wow.
He actually put, here was the difference, Lee, right? And I'll leave with this, right? This is what I said on the panel. What I said is that you could actually see he was trying. You could actually see that Whittaker was trying, right? You could.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't want to see people trying. I want people doing.
I agree with you, right? But there wasn't one moment in this episode where I thought, that's the most doctory thing that she's ever done. And that's down to the writing. And if it's took him, but this is what I did say, and I agree with everybody. Even if this was an improvement, right? If you look at what we've gotten, and you're right to say this, Lee, the standard has been lowered, so it's not a huge stretch. You know, when I say it was decent, it was good, it was better than that, and he's written, that's still not saying much, because obviously look what he has.
The message sent to me really seemed to me I wasn't welcome to be, I wasn't good enough to be a viewer. So fair enough. See you later.
But there were a few moments in this that really did shock me. That were well put together. It's just a pity that you can't do it all the time. But I will say this. It's actually taken him 3 years to get to this point, right? So if that's what he's been able to give us, and that's his best after 3 years, because I do think that is his best. If he had started with that and then progressed, then we'd probably be looking at the Chris Chibnall in a different light completely. But no. This is where we are after 3 years. It's still not good enough.
Yeah, it's the perfect shitstorm.
So, in fairness, even though I'm saying this is better than this is the best thing he has written, it's still not saying much. But there were elements of this story that I really did enjoy. You are right. There's lots of things that are wrong with this. Few explanations here and there could have went along nicely, and then it could have probably improved it. The one thing I was relieved about, though, was Captain Jack, for me personally, was not ruined, and that was a relief. And the Daleks, actually, I thought I was going to hate them, but I didn't. Nicholas Briggs brought it. They were menacing. There was actually the right kind of scary in it as well. Look, as I said, some elements of this were good. Some elements were pretty bad. Whittaker, I will say this, Whittaker again was let down by Chris Chibnall, but with the stuff that she had to work with, she wasn't bad. As I said, there was one moment where she almost convinced me, yeah, okay, for once I believe you're the Doctor in this situation. But it was that close. It was that close, but there's some moments that were actually wow. So yeah, I mean,
Fair
look,
enough.
it's obviously, you know, the people out there are done, and I get it. And if they want to be done, they have every right to be done, and I get
Yeah,
that.
but I mean, to put a bow on a
I
piece of
will
shit,
agree
you're
with
gonna end
I
up with
will agree
sticky
with Luke
fingers
on
that
it.
smell of shit.
It
So I
makes
wouldn't
no
touch
difference
it.
to Chris Chibnall here. So until he's gone, you know, we're not going
Yeah.
to Doctor Who that we want until he's gone. So hopefully there is still a chance, because as I said, remember, Jodie Whittaker did say she'd never leave unless Chris Chibnall was gone. So have BBC managed somehow to keep this from leaks, to keep this from sources, and he actually is going to go with Whittaker Series 13, or has their relationship, Whittaker and Chibnall's relationship, broke down so much that that's why she's decided to leave? Or, as I said at the very beginning, was the plan always 3 years, as we've been told as well?
Look,
3 years.
I just hope he gets the hint and fucks off.
So do I. So do I. Well, we'll see what happens. As I said, the next couple of weeks and months going to be very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how long BBC will keep stum before they come out and say something. You know, remember, I will say this to you, and I'll leave you with this. The last time that it was announced or it was leaked or someone had come out and said that Jodie Whittaker was leaving, remember, caught like wildfire, and BBC came out and made a statement within a couple of days. It's been a couple of days now, and they still haven't made a statement. So the last time she was rumored to be leaving, BBC actually came out and said something. This time they've said nothing. Now you can read whatever you want into that, but to me, that's very telling. And when they come up with the line, we're not going to comment on the future of Jodie Whittaker playing the Doctor on the show, then you know there's something going on. And you know, I think a lot of fans out there need to stop being in denial. Enjoy Series 14.
Well, I'll just say to them what they've been telling us for the last 3 years. The show is always about change.
Oh yeah, that's a good line. Yeah, and we will leave with that. Thank you, Lee.
I'm just going to glorify in slapping that back around their faces, because they've been doing that to us for the last 3 years.
That is a good point to make. Everybody should throw that up on Twitter. Remember, everybody, the show has always been about change. Isn't that what everybody talks about?
Yeah.
Perfect. And listen, as I said, I think Lee does make a point, but I don't know if it will make any difference. But look, we'll give it a go anyway. We'll all get behind one name and show the BBC.
Well, I know there's a hashtag going around, Michael Sheen, hashtag Michael Sheen 14th Doctor. So
then I think we should get behind that one then, if that one has been trending and it's already there. And for me, I think he would be a safe pair of hands. And then go with your choice, Lee. You know, I think that would be the best way to go.
I think it's a decent argument you've made.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's these, and even your one. Look, I mean, if they went with Luke or a younger male, I'd have no problem with that. I just don't know if that'd be the way to go. But again, I'd support it. You know.
And my other hashtag suggestion is Capaldi for showrunner.
Yeah. Well, if that happened, I'd be over the moon.
Oh, we all would. You know, who could argue?
Or we just bring Peter Capaldi back.
Yeah, right. That ain't gonna happen.
Oh, imagine if they did. Or do you know what? I wouldn't say all is forgiven, but if they brought back Peter Capaldi somehow, I'd be overjoyed. But it's never going to happen. So get that
not in your Nelly.
Get that dream out of your head, no. Get that dream out of your head. Look, I don't know. I don't care who they cast next. Right? I just want Chris Chibnall gone. Right?
It would help. It would help.
Right.
It would help a lot more.
Yeah. So, BBC, if you're listening, or if any of you people from the BBC, well, there do be people watching, not listening from the BBC, but there do be people that spy for the BBC. Listen, if you are listening, Here's her message, loud and clear. Getting rid of Jodie Whittaker is not going to solve all your problems with the ratings or the fandom or what's going on with the show. You need to get rid of Chris Chibnall too. You do that? And I said it. Listen, I said if Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall went by Series 13, there's still a chance to save this show. Jodie Whittaker gone, fine. Chris Chibnall stays on. This show is not going to make it to the 60th. I don't care what anybody says, right? It won't make it to the 60th. It'll limp to the 60th. And nobody will watch the 60th. That's the thing. They won't be sucked in this time the way they were with the 50th or any other special. They won't. It'll be done. Right, I'm going to go because I'll keep talking. And I've got a football match to watch. So, my team's in the semi-final, has a chance to get into the final. It's only one leg. So I'm gonna watch it. Maybe that's what Ninja Knight is actually doing.
Probably, yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's probably busy. I hope everything is all right, Ninja. If anything is wrong, I do apologize. I'm only having a laugh. Well, he knows I'm only having a laugh anyway. And that's it. Right, we're back tomorrow. Lee, thanks for joining me. Everybody in the chat, thank you. Me moderators, thank you very much for keeping the chat safe, and everybody in the chat, thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure, and happy 2021 or whatever you want to second. But in fairness, let's be honest. Jodie Whittaker's announcement is true. Well, it is some good news.
It's a good start.
It is a good start, but an even better one would be that they announced that Chris Chibnall is gone as well.
That would make it a happy new year.
You know what they say about, some farts out there linger on, and Chris Chibnall, the fart, and he just needs to linger.
His fart is so dense, it's like chipping through ice.
That's it. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to?
That wasn't a block of diamond that the 12th Doctor was trying to punch his way through. That was Chris Chibnall's fart.
Yeah, that's what that was. Yeah, frozen fart. Right, see you later. Have a good one. Happy New Year and all of that for you Doctor Who fans. I know this is just the beginning. Some of you are still waiting on for the man who destroyed it to be kicked out. I agree with you. He needs to go, and he needs to go now. And I think that's what we should be turning our attention to now, actually, is calling for Chris Chibnall to be sacked.
Yeah.
Because, while this is going on with Whittaker, he thinks he can go on the car while all of this fluff. No. Bring his name into it, drag his name into it, and highlight.
Oh, his name was trending just as much as Jodie Al Doctor was when that announcement.
Yeah. And as I said, no hashtag, no petition, no nothing is going to change their mind. If Jodie has made the decision, she's not going to change her mind because of a couple of polls.
And Doctor Who has always been about change.
And by the way, stop harassing Jodie Whittaker's agent and sending her messages, trying to trick her into telling you that she's staying or leaving by asking, is Jodie available for 10 questions? How pathetic I is. Jodie Whittaker's agent is not going to tell you either way. And stop faking chats with Manique Gill and pretending that Manique
and sending fake cease and desist notices to Nerdrotic.
Yeah.
So funny. God, that's so desperate.
See, here's the thing. You might like what these people are saying or like what I've said, but there's one thing I can actually say, right? Even if the Mirror, right, turns out it's talking bull, right? And even if it turns out that my source news is rubbish, right? There's one thing that this Mirror article actually does prove, though, is that I'm actually getting news from sources, because the Mirror article basically is play-by-play of everything that I've told you is on this channel. So the Mirror backs me up. So if that casts any shadow of a doubt, anybody out there that I have sources or not, I think the Mirror has proven that I have. Actually, I threw that up to actually say that, and a certain person out there, we won't mention his name, kind of twisting, saying, Noel's admitting the source is the Mirror. His source is the Mirror. No, I didn't. What I said is that it's about time that the Mirror has actually spoken about the news that I've broken months ago. That's what I said. See, they twist everything. They're so funny, they are. So funny. But here's the thing, that's what that Mirror article does prove. Because if Nicola, this is what this proves. Do you know what this proves? It means that Nicola obviously has a source in common with me. Or my sources are close to whoever she's getting information off. Because everything in the article is what I've said on this channel since last year when I broke the news. So that's what that Mirror article proved to me. So if there was any shadow of a doubt, which, I think if you've noticed, they've all kept stum except for the ones that I've blocked. But nobody else is coming to me and calling me a liar all of a sudden. Everybody's keeping silent and keeping away from me. I wonder why. And by the way, I just want to mention one person. Do you remember when Mr. Tardis actually went to Diva magazine with all these cronies to have me video taken down? That was the very same video that I mentioned the Santarans in. It's the very same video that I actually mentioned that Jodie Whittaker was definitely leaving. Right? Okay. Now, he did say something very interesting. And I'm going to fish out the tweet because I have been sent anytime.
Oh, he's been retweeting private DMs, hasn't he, on Twitter?
Well, here's the thing, right? He did say something very interesting, right? Because he'd already set up his supporters and all these J-bots to use the rhetoric that they've been using against me, right? He was the first person to bring up when you've been saying that she's been leaving since Series 11. But he did add this last part to his tweet, which I found very interesting. Now, Mr. Tardis is supposed to have connections to the BBC and has done work for them in the past. So this is what makes this very interesting, because he did go to Diva, because he openly, showed you the tweets, he openly got everybody to go to Diva and complain, send them an email, right? And this is why, right? Because at the end of his tweet, he wrote something very interesting, and he said this: if Jodie Whittaker does leave after Series 13, it doesn't mean that Noel is actually right, because he's been repeating himself since Series 11. And I thought that was a strange thing to put out, especially from someone that has connections to the BBC. And you know what? I reckon it is. He knows. He already knew that she's gone. He already knew. That's why he tried so hard to have my info, because he didn't want me to be the one to break it. Right? So he went with all his cronies, they sent the emails. And by the way, Diva did take down the links to me video, but left the article up. That's the weird thing, right? He stopped me video from getting views, right? Because every bit of information that I put in there, I guarantee you, at least 80%, I'm reckoning, is spot on. And that's what scares him. No, and it's the same video that
I don't think he knows anyone. I think he's bullshit. Look, no, I mean, this is the same guy that has put in how many scripts, how many stories has he handed the BBC? How many jobs has he got out of that? None.
Right. So, but still, he still has connect. But the fact that he was saying that, right, and now this is the rhetoric they're used when you're saying, I've explained this several times. You don't watch me follow up videos either, because you only listen to certain things. It's all propaganda. They tell you what they want you to hear, right? If you actually come onto my channel, watch me follow up videos and all, I explain all of this into great detail, right? So, I mean, this is why I still have my supporters here. This is why when people were campaigning or unsub Noel and all of this, they haven't. They never have, because they've watched every single video. They've watched everything that I've put out there, and they know that I have sources and I'm not telling us. For God's sake, Santarans, how many times does my source have to prove anyway? But listen, the mirror basically was for me. This is why I didn't.
And Santarans all played by women. And considering you said that they were non-binary, isn't it interesting that they just so happen to be women in the costume?
Yeah.
Or maybe they're non-binary, who knows? Because, you can't play you can't play a non-binary person. You're not non-binary, apparently. You can't act to play someone else if you're not that thing that you're supposed to be acting, which is absolutely nonsense.
And that's
anyway, just saying.
So all I'll say is I believe that my source has been vindicated. And I believe, and I'll just add this, I believe that all of those people that were calling me a liar have been proven wrong. I'm not even going to go and ask for apologies, because what's the point? At the end of the day, I kept quiet. I let the news do the talking, and it did. Now, listen again. As I said, the Mirror might have broke this, but it's still all not verified, so we have to wait. So there's still a possibility that all of this could be reversed, and she could be staying. I mean, anything could happen. That's the way it is with source news. Nobody knows 100% until BBC verify it. So, but as I said, the Mirror does indicate to me, and I think to my followers here, that it shows that I do have sources. And I would actually have to say, now I haven't actually spoke to Nicola, but if I was, I say we definitely got a source in common somewhere down the line, because her reporting is bang on to what I was reporting. So we'll see what happens anyway. As I said, this is going to be very interesting time over the next couple of weeks. But I do believe that my source has been vindicated. For me, the only thing that annoyed me was being called a liar and fake news. That's the only thing that has ever bothered me about this whole situation, being called a liar, because I'm not. And I've never lied or been dishonest to any of this on this channel, and I never would. It's not my way of doing things. I don't say these things to upset fans or to wind them up. It's what I report. It's what I've been given, and with all source information.
Listen, to be offended or to be wound up or to be upset, that's a choice. That's a choice we all have to make. Their reaction is as much a responsibility as anything else. So if they react to something badly, then maybe they need to look closer to home before casting aspersions at other people first.
Well, look, it's all done now. It's all done now. Whatever's happened in the past with whoever, I don't really care anymore now. At the end of the day, I always said that whatever I put out there is rumor and speculation until verified by the BBC, and none of this, including the Mirror article or follow-up articles by others, have been verified yet. So we just have to wait and see until it is or either denied. But right now, BBC are not denying it. They're actually making no comment, which is a bit weird. Listen, this is me right now. This is the way I do it, right? If I was working for the BBC and Digital Spy, like they did, rang them up, the office, Cardiff up, and says, listen, rumours of Jodie Whittaker leaving. Can you tell us if there's anything in that? I wouldn't be saying no comment, right? Even if it was true, right? I'd say no. That's unfounded. Jodie Whittaker is still playing the Doctor. She'll be in Series 13, and she'll be in the follow-up special. Right? But don't say anything more than that, right? So then it's nipped in the bud. Then Digital Spy would have come out then saying, no, BBC have confirmed that Jodie Whittaker will be in Series 13 and the upcoming, the special that follows, right?
Yeah.
And then that would have nipped in the bud, but they chose to make no comment.
It's in the bag. It's in the bag. Get on with it. Move on. Show's all about change.
That's it. That's it. And that's just our favorite line for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
It's about change. So embrace it.
Pleasant, isn't it?
So embrace it, J-Bots. If not, as I said earlier on, basically run, because this fandom is no longer going to tolerate behavior like that. And Lee and what others have been doing out there on Twitter has been absolutely fantastic, highlighting the abusive behavior of all you people. And you know what? It's about time Twitter is actually getting their act together and slowly but surely getting around to all of you accounts. And you know what? You deserve it, because you've been going around bullying and harassing and getting away with it for 3 years. Well, it's not going to happen anymore. And people like Lee and Not My Fandom and others out there that have been working tirelessly to highlight these bullies, these credins, whatever you want to call them, piles of pus. They're the worst thing that's ever happened to this fandom. I remember a time, and it upsets me, this Doctor Who fandom was the envy of a lot of fandoms, and it's completely destroyed. But you know what? I'm going to be one of those, like Lee and the rest of them. I'm going to work behind the scenes. I'm going to work forefront to get this fandom back to some place of normality, because it deserves it. The fans deserve to come back into this and to be embraced again, to be told that they are part of a fandom, and told, instead of being told you're no longer part of this fandom, get out. You know, no, that time is over, right? Fans have suffered enough, right?
It's the gaslighting that that really rubs it in.
Were brought home to their fandom and embraced by those fans that have decided to stick around and suffer these 3 years. But we want to heal this fandom. Make no bones about this. This is no civil war. We don't want nothing like that. We want their fandom back, and we're going to reclaim our fandom. It's as simple as that.
Changes turn and face the
strain. And all of those people that felt like we had to leave the fandom, well, don't worry. You will return one day, because the fandom will be cleaned out. Because listen, once she falls and once Chibnall falls as well, that's it. They're done. They're spent. Okay? And hopefully you fans that have walked away will come back when the show is written a bit better and it's headed by someone who actually cares. And then we can all get on with reviewing a show that we actually love and enjoy it again. But that will happen if they make the other decision that needs to be made. And hopefully they do. But look, I'm a little bit more optimistic than I was a few weeks back, but it's still not good enough unless Chris Chibnall goes. But listen, we'll see. And I'm going to leave it at that definitely now. If Cheryl was out here, she would have hit me with the frying pan.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave it at that. Listen, you have been absolutely wonderful. Thanks for sticking around with me. As I always say, it's always a pleasure. And I just want to say to you, here's the 2021, and let's see what the future brings us all. But Chibnall goes, I'll be happy. It's not good enough that Whittaker is gone. Listen, as I said, if I had the choice between the two of them and one of them could only leave, you know who I'd be choosing?
Hands down Chibnall.
Yeah.
All the way.
Exactly. And I will say this though. Some fans have said that it would have been nice to get rid of Chris Chibnall to see Jodie Whittaker under a competent writer. I do get you that point to a certain extent, but I will go back to the point that we've always made. Unfortunately, though, she is miscast, and I don't think even under someone that's a better writer, a better director, could help her, and that's the problem that we have. And with that, I'm going to say goodnight. Right, I'm leaving. And by the way, don't forget Ghostbusters tomorrow. So if you are afraid of ghosts, don't bother.
Who are you going to call?
I'm afraid of no ghosts. If you're afraid of no ghosts,
don't cross the streams.
And don't cross the streams, exactly. Join me tomorrow. It'll be absolutely.
Stay puffed or get wrecked.
That's it. And it'll be fun. We do have fun on those streams. So come and join us. Right, I'm leaving you with Lee's wonderful new trailer. I'm loving this trailer. But I love it. I love every time I play it. But here we go again. Absolutely fantastic. Good night.
Good night.
Stay safe. And listen, I know we're in another lockdown, but remember, as I said to you before, the Tartar Zone will be here, which is every step of the way. And obviously, there's other YouTubers out there as well that will keep you entertained as well. I always say that, and I always give a shout out to other YouTubers out there. Go and check out Gary Az and all the rest of the folk out there that just know. Because we're all together, we're all in on this together to keep us going and to keep each other going as well. It's hard for us as well, but we know how hard it is for you guys as well. So we're here to support each other, and we will. So listen, I will talk to you during the week. We've got plenty going on, and here's the 2021. Let's hope it gets a little bit better. Let's hope over the next couple of days I might get leaked that Chris Chibnall is actually leaving. That'd be fantastic. Oh, but I doubt it. They don't get but they do say good news comes in threes sometimes. So you never know. Good night.
Fingers crossed. Good night.
Good night.